What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Bachelor Talks, and today we are discussing the Bachelor season finale with Colton. I can't believe that this is the last episode. I feel like it was a journey getting here. And I have decided to take the last two episodes and just combine everything into one video to make it nice, simple, clean, and easy for all of us. So I kind of saw this coming pretty much since the season started. I'm seeing spoilers and talks here and there about how nobody is left at the end, which I guess was technically correct. But I had the feeling that he was going to end up with Cassie, and that is basically what happened. So let's go ahead and start talking about the episode. By the way, 4 hours did not go on as painfully as I thought that they would, so I was pleasantly surprised about that, because normally when we get these finales, it just goes on and on and on and gets to the point, which we still have that. I just have to talk about Chris Harrison though, because while there was a lot of heartbreak in this episode, I still have to find my humor in these situations, and my humor is through him. So when he's doing the intro, he's like, well, we find out if Colton is still a virgin. It's just like, we really just had to hold on to that into the very sweet, bitter end, but at least there was no shower scenes in the last two episodes, so I guess thank goodness for that. And I also thought it was hilarious when Chris was talking about his recap of chasing Colton through Portugal and how he jumped the fence. And Chris Harrison was like, and this is something I never want to live through again. So you could just tell that he was just so like annoyed and bothered by it. And in case you missed last week's video, I basically said he was probably holed up in his hotel suite living up his life, and then gets a call, hey, Colton's jumping a fence, and he's just like, I'm being disturbed right now, this is not okay. The very hard life of being the host as a bachelor, bachelorette, and bachelor in paradise. Sidebar, when I was in Vegas last year, I actually saw Chris Harrison at a Starbucks, and I kind of wanted to go up to him, but I didn't at the same time, because I'm sure when you're like a celebrity and you're well known, you're like used to getting swarmed, and he's just waiting in line for his coffee. So I'm like, I didn't want to go up to him, but I kind of wanted to ask him for a picture for my mom. But I also felt weird like sitting there trying to take a picture of him. I couldn't do it. Like, I can't be one of those people that has no shame and just like pulls their phone out and starts recording. Like, I just felt so awkward and uncomfortable. I don't know how people do that when they're around celebrities or like around YouTubers, how you just sit there and like put your phone out and you're just like, I don't know, I couldn't do it. But it was like so weird seeing him in person, and he just is like so tiny. Like, he's so skinny in person, and he's also on the shorter side. But anyways, I digress. I also love that Chris kept it real with Colton, and he was just like, she's just not that into you, bro. Like, what don't you get? Like, we have a show to run here. You gotta pick someone. But I think that that was a very true sentiment and statement. At the time, it was very clear, at least to us, the way that they edited it, it was very obvious that Colton really wasn't into Colton. Well, did I say Colton? It was very obvious that Cassie was not into Colton, like, at all. And she kept saying, like, I'm confused. I just don't know. Like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is so wild. Like, saying stuff like that. And it was just kind of sad to see, because Colton, like, loves this girl. So obviously he's pulling out everything in the book to try to convince her to stay with him. I'm getting too far ahead. Let's back it up to Tayshia. So she is the one that he decides to break up with first. You can kind of tell by the look on Tayshia's face as soon as she opened the door and saw Colton. You just knew, she knew it was over. I feel like she kind of knew, because like her interview after the fantasy suite was very awkward, and I feel like she kind of knew, because they didn't sleep together, it probably wasn't going to work out. But I just want to make a statement here and say that it's very clear. Colton tried to be very clear with Tayshia, and when he was talking with Chris, he said, he didn't mention anything about Hannah when he was talking to Chris, by the way. He just said, Tayshia was the other one I was starting to fall in love with. It was like, Hannah who? when he was talking to Chris, right? So that's gonna tie in a minute. He breaks up with Tayshia. Tayshia, by the way, is so gracious and handles it so well. You could tell that she was trying really hard to like not have a full breakdown on camera, but obviously we heard that behind closed doors, and I feel like she was very understanding of Colton's breakup. I feel really bad for her. I hope we see her in the future. Like, she deserves, everybody deserves a happy ending. Another note that I had during their breakup, because again, I have to find humor in things, when she's like, can we go for a minute off camera, and like closes the door and you just hear the cameraman go and set the camera down. It was a funny moment. You could also hear like their heart beating too, like whenever like they were hugging at each other. Like I was like, did production add that in for like dramatic value, or was like whoever's heart actually beating that hard and that loud? So that was something that I picked up on. Then we cut back to the studio, and Chris is sitting down with Tayshia, interviewing her, and let me just say, Tayshia is a very beautiful, gorgeous girl, but she has never looked so stunning. She looked so beautiful in that dress. That dress was just breathtaking to me. Her hair, her makeup, just like, oh, and her skin tone, like everything just looked so amazing and gorgeous and beautiful. Like, she's never looked prettier. And she's already such a beautiful, gorgeous person. I just gagged over how she looked sitting on that couch. So, you know, sucks she missed out on that one, Colton. Now we switch over to poor Hannah's breakup, and she is so clueless. Her head is so high up in the clouds. Like, she for sure would bet her entire life savings, her whole family, she would bet everything she had on the fact that Colton was going to pick her. And it was just hard to watch, because like you could just see, it just wasn't sinking in. Like, he was talking to her and she's just like, uh-huh. Like, she was just like, it took a minute for it to settle in for her. Now, he was telling Chris and producers, he thought it was going to be Tayshia, right? Like, Tayshia was the only other one that I was starting to have feelings for. And then he sits down with Hannah. And then he tells Hannah that he thought it was going to be her at the end because she still feels like home. So to me, it's not that Colton's like coming across as a player. He's coming across as extremely confused. And then as he's sitting there trying to break up with Hannah, he's questioning if he should even be running after Cassie. And I'm just like, oh my God, this poor man. No one should have let him be the Bachelor. We knew from seeing him on Paradise, he was not ready for this. He was not prepared for this. But it's kind of like we're at the end of the journey, so we're stuck with what we're stuck with. And they just kind of really sat there in awkward silence, and I just like really hated it, because it just seemed like he just was so unsure. Like, he was so fine breaking up with Tayshia, but thought she was gonna be the one. But now he's with Hannah, he's questioning everything, so they just kind of end in awkwardness. Hannah gets into the limo, says, I'm not talking about any of this, and like, that's it. And it cuts to her on the couch. And I feel like Hannah's still not over it, which is rightfully so if she was that invested and like that in love with Colton and like expecting an engagement ring. And it just like, your heart goes out to her because like she said, she has people coming up like, oh, can you show us your engagement ring? Like, I can't imagine having to live through that and how painful that is, because until this aired for months and months and months, like you're stuck reliving a breakup with someone that you were in love with. So I feel bad for like everybody involved. Then we have like this little sidebar with past guys on The Bachelor, and then we later on had a mix of the current season Bachelor guests and guys that were on Bachelorette. And basically, I'm just hoping at this point that Blake is in Paradise, because I wanted him to be the next Bachelor. I just love Blake. I think he's adorable. Now it comes on to Colton and Cassie. He is able to convince her, win her back. get her to agree to like whatever. I feel like it was I was confused watching it because I feel like he started off by convincing her like, hey, let's just see where things go. I don't need to propose at the end. But then as they were talking, it seemed like he was still wanting to propose to her. I don't know. I was confused by it all. Obviously, Colton's parents were like, there are red flags here everywhere. What the hell are you doing? Like, who is this girl? She doesn't even like you. And it was just a very confusing end to the show. But then they come out on stage and Cassie actually, for once, the first time ever, looks like she has genuine feelings for Colton. She looks so happy. She is glowing. She actually looks like she's in love. I feel like we would have been a lot more excited on the show if like she had been like that on the show. I think she was in her head too much. What do you think about Cassie? Like, what do you think her deal was on the show? Because it seemed like night and day from like the show to them being at the live. Maybe they did need that much more time to get there. And I was also kind of annoyed with the show a little bit because like I feel like they kept hinting like there might be an engagement on stage, and I feel like everybody was waiting for it and it didn't happen. So again, it was like a very like awkward cut to like, okay, great, you guys are happy, get off the stage, just move on to the Bachelorette. So Hannah B is announced as the next Bachelorette, which I kind of had her in my top picks for Bachelorette for the last couple of weeks now. So what are your thoughts on that? I feel like a lot of people after this finale aired are gonna be really, really upset that the other Hannah wasn't picked as Bachelorette, which, sidebar, I was on Facebook earlier today. I saw this video that E-News posted, and it was a video of Hannah rapping about her breakup with Colton, and I'm like, I just couldn't. It was so cringy to me. And maybe they did pick the wrong person to be the next Bachelorette because they presented the other Hannah with 5 guys that are going to be on her season, and one of them presented a rap to her. So I feel like if it was the other Hannah, those two could just hit it off together and go be happy and be like a rapping couple together. But anyways, I'm excited to see Hannah B is the next Bachelorette. I feel like we really got to see her personality come out more as the show progressed. And I'm just like excited to see what it is. I feel like she's not the cookie cutter typical Bachelorette. So I'm excited. Hopefully she makes things pretty entertaining for us. So what are your thoughts on this season finale? Do you think Colton made the right choice? Do you think in 5 months from now he'll be single again? What are your thoughts? What do you think about The Bachelorette? I know we were given a date sometime in May for that to be airing, so hopefully you're subscribed and you'll stick with me and you'll be back for my Bachelorette talks, and I will see you then, and I am so excited for Paradise too. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this season down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!